All right, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So, all of you know about UPOE? No?
I don't know what it is.
You know what it is? Okay. So, I'm just going to be talking about three things: what it is, how it works, and what are we doing with it. More importantly, what are our customers doing with it? So, three things, very short and simple. Okay. I have slides on both sides. Okay. So, how did we get to 60 watts? That's the question. And why are we doing this?
That would be my question.
Right? And I'll answer that question, hopefully. Let's see. Right? So if you take a look at it historically, we came out with 7 watts inline power. We enabled customers to deploy VoIP phones much faster, right? Then we went ahead and we said, okay, let's do 15 watts. And we addressed the wireless access point kind of market, enable customers to deploy Wi-Fi access points and that solution much faster. Then we came out with 30 watts, which basically helped us deploy these newer phones like the 9900 series that had LED screens, video kind of capability, as well as higher power access points onto the network, right? And now in 2011, we did 60 watts. And some of you might be asking, what were you thinking? Why did you do this, right? Now, we realized that, while 30 watts was good enough, but if you wanted to extend the resiliency of what we have on the switch, right, data resiliency, power resiliency, onto a single wire for customers to enable end-to-end solutions, we needed to put more power on the wire, okay? We did some investigations, we figured out how it works, which I'll share with you in a minute, and we launched 60 watts, and we called it UPOE. What we're doing with it is, now 60 watts, be it 60 watts, 45 watts, 80 watts, or on this switch, that's just hardware capability. What are you doing with it? What kind of ecosystem, what kind of solutions are you creating for customers? That's the main goal of UPOE, which I'm about to share with you. Okay? Let's take a detail of how we did this. So we had PoE Plus. In a typical Cat5e cable, you get 4 pairs. We took 2 pairs, and it did 30 watts. How do we do 60 watts? You just put 30 watts on the other 2 pairs. It's that simple. Right? Revolutionary. Yes.
It's like Apple. It's almost like Apple.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Right? And the maths add up. 30 watts plus 30 watts is 60 watts.
Yeah, that's the second piece of math that he's not saying.
But this is simple math.
Promise there would
Now,
be math.
this is not, I'm not talking about gigabits of scalability. This is just power. This is very simple. The other thing that we needed to do was we need to make sure that it's supported by the existing cables. We cannot expect customers to say, hey, we're coming out with 60 watts, so guess what? Change your entire cabling infrastructure. That's not going to fly well. So we reached out and did some research on cabling. Now, there are 2 cabling standards. Anyone want to take a guess? ISO and TIA, right? And we asked them for some data. What is the maximum power that we can support on a Cat5e cable? Okay. So they said, well, we have done some research, and these are published numbers. And what we've tested is we've taken a bunch of, I think 1,000 cables, and we have routed them in the most unstructured manner throughout a building, and tested the power on those cables. So when they take it all the way up to 51 or 52 watts, which is basically 60 watts after cable losses, the temperature rise on them is about 8 to 10 degrees. That's the ambient temperature.
In the overall building?
No, not the overall building, just one wire. Yeah. Right. So what we figured out was, if we get this technology out there, it is compatible with PoE and PoE Plus. Okay. Then we said, okay, what is the other benefit that we have? Now, I just bought an iPhone 5. And now I find out that all the investments that I made in my car gadgets, which supported my iPhone 4S, don't work anymore, right? That's not the nature of the RJ45 connector. It's universal. You go to Europe, Asia, US, wherever you go, it's the same thing. What?
Apple should be watching this.
Yes, they are. There are a lot of blogs on it. They don't need me. I mean, I'm just Cisco product manager. But so you have a universal nature, which allow you to use this technology on your existing cabling infrastructure for endpoints. Okay. You also have the benefit of the high availability that the Catalyst 4500 offers. So this technology today is only available on the Catalyst 4500. We have a roadmap to take it down to, or take it to the 3750 series as well, on the 3K products. And the high availability that the Catalyst 4500 offers, anybody know about that, by the way? What kind of high availability Catalyst 4K offers?
Super high.
Super high? Oh, you do? Okay. It's basically less than 200 milliseconds. If there's a switchover, or if you're doing an upgrade or downgrade, right, less than 200 milliseconds. It's if customers are on a phone call, they don't even get to know the difference. Okay, and data is completely, they don't even get to know. And most of the power supplies, dual power supplies, dual inputs. One is through main street power, one is through backup. So you get power backup, you get data resiliency, right? And we also came to know, and this we came to know after we launched. We launched in Cisco Live, and somebody also told us this fact. The power bricks that you use for like this one on your laptop are actually 45 to 50% efficient. That means if they're rated for 90 watts, they're actually pulling in close to 120, or not 120, but more than that, 140, 150 watts from the wall. Our power supplies are built for 80% efficiency, 80 to 90%, and that's an idle. As soon as you start using it, the gap even goes higher, or sorry, the efficiency even goes higher. So it's much more efficient. Then we have this really cool feature called EnergyWise. Anybody heard about EnergyWise? Half of you, okay. So EnergyWise allows you to manage this whole infrastructure in a much better way, right? In fact, it was so popular that now we offer a $0 SKU for EnergyWise management solution with our switches. So when you buy a switch, you can get the management application with limited functionalities for free to manage your energy needs. All right. So that's how we did it. And what are we doing with it? Well, another question comes up. What if my end device is not capable of PoE? What do I do then? Right? So we built a splitter. Okay. And what the splitter does is it takes UPOE and it splits it into PoE plus and a 12-volt DC, right, which can be used with only pure DC devices. Okay. Now, what does it do with it? Well, when we launched UPOE, we partnered with Samsung to build a screen, which is 23-inch LED technology, and it has, I believe it does VMware, VMware View, right on its on the screen itself. So it's an integrated solution. It's powered.
Zero client is the term.
Zero client. Yeah.
Based zero client.
Zero client, powered by an Ethernet cable, and the data goes through. It can support peripherals like your headsets, keyboard, mouse, and everything. So if you're looking for like a VDI kind of a solution, where you want end-to-end resiliency, you have in your data center with all the UCS infrastructure, and then all the way down to the access, you enable this through UPOE as well. For standalone clients like we have for the Cisco VDI clients, you can use a splitter. And this is pretty neat. We also did this demo in Cisco Live, and we continuously do it. It takes UPOE, it powers a 22-inch Samsung screen using DC power, and it powers the VDI client using PoE plus. And that way, still with a single cable, without any power requirements, you get VDI all the way to your desktop. Okay, and then we also have the backpack on the 9900 phone. It works in a similar way. So again, resiliency for VDI. This is how it offers.
Power cables in those drawings there, the red and the blue?
So the blue is PoE plus, green is UPOE, and the red is the 12-volt DC, which goes off from the splitter.
Should there be an additional Ethernet cable in there, like between the phone and the client, I guess?
Between like between the phone and the client? Yeah, so there's a backpack which just mounts on the back of the phone and just connects it to there and draws its power and does all the VDI stuff. Okay? So when we launched, VDI was our big business case. And we also said, well, we're going to open up this technology for more ecosystem partners to leverage and build solutions off. So we used LLDP to publish an API. Basically, the other clients can use LLDP to negotiate powers up to 60 watts, right? And once we did that, we had all these people come in, okay? So virtual desktop I talked about, trading floors. How many of you deal with like financial customers with IP turrets? So for IP turrets, power backup, right? They usually have a turret, and they also have either a UPS system right beside it, or they have it per floor. They have a special provisioning system for that.
Yeah.
Then they also do it for the switch.
Stacks of PCs, literally.
Right.
The backups get under one of those desks on a trading floor. It's like hot as heck.
Yeah, and they wear shorts, but they wear ties and shirts over so that people can see them as working professionals. But yeah, but now with the UPOE, you can take a single power or single Ethernet data cable. You can use it with any of these turrets. We've actually partnered with them. They've certified our solutions, right? And they can provide this kind of functionality. What really came as a surprise was lighting. So the new generation of lighting, LED lighting, is less than 60 watts. So we had partners like NewLED and Field Server who are developing LED lights, and that can be powered over Ethernet. So more ports. PoE lighting. But I think it's the main use case where how they position it is for emergency lighting. So if you lose like building power, but you still have power to the switch, right? It'll light up some lights.
Actually, I'm just going to toss one in my bag, and when the data center goes dark, I'm going to plug it into the switch and have a flashlight.
To me, that's
Absolutely.
the value proposition of a lot of the UPOE stuff is because, if you have that VMware View client that can be powered off the switch, and you only have one thing that you've got to keep up and redundant.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, I
you
mean,
can
and you
centralize
think
all
like
your
a lot of
UPS
contact
generators and all that.
A lot of contact centers, right? They'll have a thin desktop or an actual desktop running their software, running the application, and then Cisco IP phone on generator backup, and they have to if that all fails, they have to go down to like an IP agent. But now they can go ahead and have literally a zero client doing voice over IP, doing the virtual desktop, running all the applications, and never getting down.
Yeah.
Just imagine not running power cables under the floor.
Yeah, no, that's
Absolutely.
actually what I'm
Contact
envisioning. And we're
centers
doing the starts of a VDI project right now, and I'm having ideas.
You can recoup the cost.
And your ideas are based around UPOE?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know how my network guys will feel about it, but why would I talk to them?
Yeah.
He's the server guy. The token server guy.
The latest partner that came on board was Hillrom. They make nursing stations, right? They said, well, we use your ISSU feature, we use all the high availability features of your switch. Why not just put this on power as well, right? In fact, there's a case study on Cisco.com for the Catalyst 4500 ISSU feature. It's with Baptist Healthcare. They actually use ISSU, being able to upgrade, downgrade software in their ICU department. Right? So, I mean, if you're a doctor and you're going to a patient, you cannot go to a patient and say, I cannot check your vitals right now because the switch is going for a reboot, we're upgrading it. So why don't you just hang on while the switch goes for an upgrade? So none of that happens over there, right? We have so far, we launched in 2011. We have already sold 2 million ports so far in the short time. We have like customers with multiple use cases, some of them not listed here, but if you take a look, anybody have you seen this little thing? This is a compact switch. It powers off UPOE and it does PoE downstream. It's completely fanless. There's no fan in it, right? It's a managed switch. It's like a 2K.
So it just does standard PoE downstream. Not
Standard PoE. PoE and PoE plus?
PoE.
Just PoE? Okay. But the TK variant does more, right? Oh, I'm sorry. So think about this. You're in a retail store, and you're a retail you're a retail store owner, and you want to put digital signage on every aisle. with a 22-inch monitor. You can take UPOE, you can bring it down to this guy, or you can even take the normal digital media player, power that on using a splitter, power the screen on with the DC volt from the splitter, and your digital signage is done. You push content to it, it comes over there.
I would have to imagine that we have, some pretty interesting power requirements to our switching closets, though.
That's why we're coming out with the 9,000 watt.
Is that 3 cables?
Yeah, 3
Instead of
cable.
running a power cable to every desk,
It needs to be
now you have to run in
Substation in
multiple
closet.
3-phase into the cable.
Well, actually, a question regarding that. So, like,
Sure.
some of the larger data centers work with, there's this move towards changing how power distribution happens, right?
Mhm.
You're coming DC to the desktop, anyways. Is this forcing at least highly optimized power supplies to deal with the what's called deal with conversion loss, or are we going to be seeing more DC to the wiring closet? Like
So,
direct
I
power
mean-
off the battery rooms or campuses.
Yeah, I mean, this technology still has a long way to go. So we're still, right now it's just we're concentrating on the Ethernet power,
Yeah.
right? And again, it is DC power at the end of the day. There are, it's taken off, and as it takes off, maybe the trend will be that one day we will only be seeing Ethernet as a power replacement. And also keep in mind, like the screens these days, right? The LED technology is getting more and more power efficient. So today we can support like an EX60 Tandberg personal telepresence unit off of this technology. As we use more and more power efficient LED screens, maybe we'll be able to do a EX90 or even more.
So we're talking
Similar
about
to
the
the feature.
power supplies and the switches and the cells.
Oh,
We're seeing a
okay. I'm
change
sorry.
to, and how we do our structured cabling, how we set up when we're speccing out how campuses are designed,
Mhm.
pulling native DC up.
Oh, so
versus
DC to the switch, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought DC to the end. Yeah.
As it's not just powering the switch,
We-
it's switching capabilities, but actually power distribution capabilities out to appliance.
Right, right. That makes sense. You get DC in, so you're not losing power over AC
Power
to DC
conversion, you learn, like,
power
lose
conversion.
20%.
We haven't really seen that taken off in the wiring closet. Wiring closet is primarily still AC power.
Well, my question is, in your, are you guys tracking, the efficiencies in that space?
We yes and no, a little bit and a little bit.
So you can actually power a UC60 or
EX60.
EX60.
Yes.
Off that?
EX60 is 48 watts. The initial start is 50, then it goes back to 48.
How much power can the chassis deliver to one slot?
1500 watts, so that's 24 ports of UPOE per slot, and 190 ports maximum today on a chassis.
Gotcha. The bundles that are shipping today, like the 10 slot
Mhm.
4500 bundle,
Mhm.
ships with 47, 48 series PoE Plus cards,
Yeah,
and to switch those into UPOE cards
yeah,
costs $3,000.
$3,000.
Why is that? When those two cards list for the same price, but to swap them out in the config builder costs $3,000.
Yeah, so the way the bundles are being done is, we have certain margin analysis that we have to take care. And when we do that, when we try to put UPOE, to switch out to UPOE, there is a certain hit that we have to take.
Well, it makes sense on the 6 slot chassis because the default card there is a 46, 48 series, which
Right.
costs less.
Right.
But on the
But-
10 slot, it just seems like a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, the way that the bundles are done, there's a certain level of discount that's done. And if you want to put UPOE on top of it, because we price it the same, so there's already a certain discount we do for UPOE. And if you want to discount it further on a bundle, that even hurts us more. So,
So you're saying the manufacturing costs between those two cards aren't the same, even though list price is the
Yeah.
manufacturer bundle. So their
Okay,
cost
but
is higher.
in one bundle, you actually do pay the right amount. That's why it confuses me.
no, it's just the way we configure the bundles
Yeah.
and how we do our discount analysis. Based off that, how much discount can we do to offer our customers UPOE? So there's different, the 7-slot bundle versus the 10-slot bundle, the cost to do that is different, as you would imagine, right? But, and then if you want to bundle these extra technologies into it, or even like the software licensing into it, there's a whole costing mechanism exercise that goes through, right? We try to do the maximum we can. to make it more and more attractive and more easier for our customers to migrate to UPOE. But then we also have to take a look at our business and make decisions off of that as well.
Should we